Let's learn about ethers. When any organic compound in which two hydrocarbon groups are linked by single bonds to an oxygen atom, it is called an ether. Ethoxyethane, which is CH3CH2OCH2CH3, is the most famous ether. It was commonly used as an anesthetic in the medical field.
When naming an organic compound using the IUPAC rules, you use these prefixes which represent the number of carbons in a chain. For example, 3 would be prop, 4 would be bute, and 5 would be pent. When naming the alkoxy group of an ether, which is the smaller chain of carbons, you use the oxy suffix with the prefixes to represent how many carbons there are. For example, if there is 3 carbons, you will use prop, and you will combine it with the suffix oxy, giving you propoxy. When naming the alkane of the ether, also known as the longer chain, use the suffix ane and still use the same prefixes. For example, if you have 3 carbons, it is called propane because of the prefix prop and the suffix ane to represent that it is an alkane, or the longer chain of the ether.
In order to name ethers, you must use the bases. For example, for the shorter carbon chain, you would use oxy, and for the longer chain, you would use ane. Let's look at some examples. Okay. Let's take a look at this example. We know this is an ether because of the 2 carbon chains that are linked to a single oxygen atom. So let's look at this side. Because this is a shorter chain, we will give this the oxy name first. So, as we can see, there are 2 carbons. The prefix F means 2. So let's write that down. And as I said before, because this is the shorter chain, we will give it the oxy suffix. So ethoxy, and over here we see 3 carbons, and the prefix prop means 3. So let's write that down. And the suffix, because it is the longer chain, would be ane. So as you can see here, ethoxypropane.
Sometimes for ethers, you will need to draw skeletal structures. In this example, we have ethoxypropane. You would draw the skeletal structure similar to drawing any other molecular compound, but this time add an O between the bonds. For example, you have the 2 carbons here, and then the O, which is shown here, and then the 3 carbons. This shows the ether. This is another example of an ether. First, we'll start with the shorter chain. This shorter chain has 1 carbon, therefore you will use the prefix meth. And since it is the shorter chain, you use oxy to signify that it's the shorter chain. And then the longer chain has 4 carbons, so you would use the prefix but, and then add the ending of ane because it is the longer chain, making methoxybutane. This is another ether. In this problem, the shorter chain is on the right and the longer chain is on the left. Here we have 2 carbons, meaning it is eth. Since this is the shorter chain, even though it's on the right, you use oxy. On this side, we have 4 carbons, meaning bute. And the ending would be ane because it is the longer chain. Therefore, this would be ethoxybutane.
Now that we have explained everything that you needed to know, here's a practice problem for you to fill out in your packets.
Thank you for watching!